previous lecture, so we discussed about introduction to the chapter biotechnology and its applications. There we discussed applications in agriculture. There we discussed what are the advantages of genetically modified crops. Again, I wrote it on the board. So let us see it once again. We'll do a quick recap and then we will get into today's topic. It is BT cotton, production of insect resistant plant BT cotton. I felt in the previous class we went these points little fast, so I thought like let us revise once again. Okay, so we'll revise this and then we will get into our today's topic, BT cotton. Okay children, now follow me. So advantages of genetically modified crops. So in NCERT there are 5 points which they have given under advantages of genetically modified crops. What is the first point they mentioned? They told in NCERT says the genetically modified crops, they make the crops more tolerant to abiotic stress. Genetically modified crops are more tolerant to abiotic stress. Like abiotic stress means heat is stress, extra heat is stress, very much cold is also stress, dried condition, drought condition is also stress conditions, excess salt is also stress conditions. Normal plants will die, but BT plants will not die. Genetically modified crops will not die because you have introduced some genes into them, so which will give that resistance character to survive under high salinity, high temperature, chilled conditions, dried conditions. And examples I have quoted here. Excuse me. The black colored lines what I wrote are from NCERT. To help us to understand this line better, I have given some examples. Now, example is salt tolerant tomatoes. So, through biotechnology, we have prepared a tomato variety, so which can tolerate in saline conditions also. Second example I wrote there, basmati variety of rice. They have produced a new variety of basmati which is tolerant to biotic stress also and abiotic stress also. Biotic stress means living stress. Abiotic stress means environmental stress. So, 2 examples I have quoted here. First one is salt resistant tomato variety and second one is biotic and abiotic stress resistant basmati variety. Now, let us see what does NCERT talks about the second point. NCERT says that genetically modified crops show reduced reliance on chemical pesticides, means reduced dependence on chemical pesticides, means they don't depend on the pesticide which can kill the insect or which can kill the pest, because they have inbuilt genes in them which will kill the pest. So that's what I wrote here. Since they have pest killing genes in them, the plant itself will have pest killing genes in them, so the farmer need not take the pain to go to the pesticide shop, buy the pesticide and spray it on the plant to kill the pest. So the plant will take care. The plant has the genes to kill the insect. Now, what are the examples we can give for this point? Means nematode resistant tobacco. It comes in RNA interference. We will discuss in the next class. Nematode resistant tobacco. There is a tobacco variety which has a gene to kill nematode, right? Then BT cotton resistant insect. That is our today's session. We will see it in detail. Means there is a BT cotton plant which has a gene to kill the insect. Then transgenic potato resistant to fungus Phytophthora. Now, potato early blight is caused by by a fungus called Phytophthora. Potato plant gets infected by a fungus. What disease it causes? It causes early blight. It causes early blight. Now, we have made a transgenic potato which shows resistance towards the fungus. Fungus cannot survive in this transgenic potato variety. In the same manner, tomato gets infected by a bacteria called Pseudomonas. Now, we produced a tomato which gains resistance against this bacteria Pseudomonas. Bacterial resistant genes you introduced, fungal resistant genes you introduced, insect resistant genes you introduced, and nematode resistant genes you introduced into plants. So then we need not buy pesticide, insecticide. That is the point what NCERT says. Clear, Amma? Let's go to the third point. Helps to reduce post-harvest losses. Post-harvest losses, in the previous class also I was telling, like tomato is such a harvest crop plant. So by the time the farmer cuts it and drops it in the market, in the meanwhile what happens? They get ripened soon and they get crushed off. In the tractor itself they get crushed off. So now scientists they started thinking on that and they thought like how to increase the shell life of the tomato so that it remains raw in the raw stage for more time. Then they have produced a variety. What is that variety name? Flower Sware tomato. The name of the variety is Flower Sware tomato. Now, there is a gene in the tomato. The name of the gene is poly-beta galactonase gene. The name of the gene is poly-beta galactonase gene. This gene breaks the pectin. When the pectin content is broken, then the fruit becomes softened. It gets ripened soon. Now, if you make the gene inactive, then the enzyme is not made. If the enzyme is not made, pectin cannot be degraded. If pectin cannot be degraded, tomatoes will not ripen soon, means shell life increased. So, they will not crush off easily. So, then post-harvest loss is reduced. So, by using genetic modification, we can help to reduce the post-harvest losses. Example here is Flower Sware tomato. Which gene are we inactivating? Poly-beta galactonase gene. What is the role of this gene? It breaks the pectin content. So, if pectin is there, fruit is raw. If pectin is broken, it gets ripened soon. So, ultimately, we will delay ripening here. So, third point over, Amma. Coming to the fourth point, increased efficiency of mineral usage by the genetically modified plants. Genetically modified plants can efficiently take the minerals from the soil. Genetically modified plants can efficiently take the minerals from the soil, which will prevent the early exhaustion of the fertility of the soil. They go deep inside, their root system is very much developed. They go deep inside and take too many minerals from the bottom first. Since they are taking minerals from the bottom layers, the upper fertile soil will not get exhausted. Upper fertile soil contains minerals. Okay, this is the fourth point. The last point, advantages of genetically modified crops, is enhancing the nutritional value of foods. So, by genetic engineering, by biotechnology, we can enhance the nutritive value of foods. Under that, we are going to talk about vitamin A enriched rice. The name they have given, the scientist fraternity, what name they have given is called golden rice. The name of the rice is called golden rice. Vitamin A comes from beta carotene. Beta carotene, it makes vitamin A, and it will present in orange and red colored fruits and vegetables. So, this rice will be golden in color because of more beta carotene in it. So, that is why they named it as golden rice. And who are those scientists who developed this golden rice? Means Ingo Portulacus and Peter Bayer. Peter Bayer and Ingo Portulacus have developed the technique of golden rice. Now, what they have done? So, they know that rice is the staple food of many countries. Now, when rice is the staple food, then they have also noticed that the people who are eating only rice alone are getting vitamin A deficiency, night blindness they are getting. So, then they thought, why can't we add vitamin A genes to the rice itself, so that that deficiency can be overcome. In that way, they have collected the beta carotene genes from two sources. One source is a daffodil plant. From daffodil plant, they have collected two genes which codes for beta carotene. And the third gene is from a bacteria called Erwinia. Bacteria also produces vitamin A. So, one gene coding for beta carotene was collected from Erwinia, and two genes are collected from a plant called daffodil. And they introduced into a particular variety of rice where the beta carotene genes are expressed easily. That variety of rice is called Tapai variety of rice. In the Tapai variety of rice, they have introduced beta carotene genes, then the nutritive values got improved. How many fold they have enhanced the nutritive values? 23 times they enhanced the beta carotene content in golden rice. 23 times they have enhanced the nutritional content in beta carotene. So, all these are the applications of genetically modified crops. Not only this, NCERT says that in addition to these genetically modified crops, we can also create tailor-made crops. We can also make tailor-made crops. What do you mean by tailor-made crop? So, even if the cloth is small, if you take it to the tailor and tell like you need to stitch so and so, he will do some more the alterations. He keeps some other pieces and he'll stitch you a piece of material, a cloth or a shirt or something, he'll stitch and he'll give you. So, tailor-made crops means alternative sources for industry. So, starch, usually for textile industry and all, we need starch, right? Now, starch can be prepared from another plant sources also. Then fuel, petro plants. Now Indian government is thinking to produce biodiesel once again, because we don't want to export it from other countries. We don't want to depend on other countries for this fuel export and all. So they are checking out like which plants are efficient. Pangomia is there, which is efficient in giving biodiesel. So biodiesel we can produce by using this technology. And biopharmaceuticals. Now take a protein called hirudin. Hirudin is a protein which is present in leech. Now leech is an ectoparasite, it will suck the blood. Now while it is sucking the blood, it will not allow the blood to clot. If it clots, it can't take it inside. So how it is not allowing our blood to clot? Because it has a protein called hirudin. Now this hirudin we are producing in a brassica plant, in a mustard plant called Brassica napus. And this hirudin is used in medicine. It is used in medicine as an anticoagulant. It will not allow the blood to clot. Okay. So in addition to all these 5 advantages, NCERT also says that genetically modified crops can also be made to make tailor-made varieties suitable for the industries in the form of improved starch, in the form of petro plants like fuels and biopharmaceuticals. Is it clear? Is it clear? So we should read till you get satisfaction. Till you get satisfaction. Understood? Now let us start at today's topic. What is that? Insect resistant plant. We'll talk about BT cotton. Take a screenshot, then we'll continue. Yeah, can I erase now? I'll be happy to listen from you, whether you are finding the lectures interesting, whether the lectures are catering your needs. So you can post whatever your views are in the comment box. Now we will talk now about an insect resistant plant. Means if the insect comes and eats the plant, nothing will happen for the plant, but insect will die. So scientists are so brilliant, they have produced such type of plants also. It's called BT cotton. There's so many, but we'll take BT cotton as a reference and we'll study. So first of all, let's try to understand what are transgenic plants. What are transgenic plants? Now, transgenic plants are those in which foreign genes are introduced. Right? Transfer of new genes into plants is called transgenic plant. That's it. Transfer of foreign genes into plants is called, it will get a transgenic plant. Okay. So you can also call it as a genetically modified plant also. Now the method of sending foreign genes into a plant or a bacteria is called transformation. So the method of sending foreign genes into a plant or bacteria, what is it called? I am telling that method is named as transformation. It is named as transformation. Whereas if you send a foreign gene into animal, then we will replace that word with transfection. So method of sending foreign gene into animals. If we send some foreign gene into animals, then what is that technique called? Transfection. The technique is called it is named as transfection. Now, how do you send the foreign genes into a plant cell? There are 2 ways to do. One is with the help of a vector. In the previous chapter, we studied. Now also we will see. There is a TI plasmid agrobacterium mediated gene transfer technology, we will tell. So if you want to introduce foreign gene into plant, we tell there are 2 ways. One way is with the help of vector. If you want to send anything into bacteria, PBR is a vector. If you want to send anything into the plant, who is a vector? TI plasmid is a vector, right? So who is a vector? TI plasmid. From where are you borrowing this TI plasmid? from a soil bacteria called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. From a soil bacteria called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. From a soil bacteria called Agrobacterium tumefaciens, you will take the TI plasmid. So you will open the TI plasmid, and in that place we will try to keep whatever is your foreign DNA, you will insert it. Okay, and then we will give this recombinant vector, it becomes a recombinant vector. We will give this recombinant vector back into the bacteria. We will give it back into the bacteria. Now the bacteria is called as natural genetic engineer. The bacteria is called natural genetic engineer because it can easily infect all the dicot plants, because this bacteria, it can easily infect all the dicot plants. See, this is the bacteria which is infecting the roots. Now in this, your DNA is there, your foreign DNA is there. Now this bacteria will deliver the foreign DNA into the plant. See the vector, it has delivered your DNA into the plant. Now the plant became transgenic plant, no? So this is your foreign DNA. Foreign DNA, you kept it in a vector. This vector is called TI plasmid. From where did you borrow the plasmid? From a bacteria. What is the name of the bacteria? Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So now from the bacteria, you borrowed the vector, you opened the vector, you kept your desired DNA, and then you will get a recombinant vector. Give back the recombinant vector to the bacteria, and then the bacteria will go and infect the plant, and it will successfully send the foreign DNA what you gave into the plant. Now such plant is called transgenic plant. Such plant is having genes, so it is called as transgenic plant. You have transferred new genes into the plant, correct? So it is called transgenic plant. This is one method to send foreign genes into the plant. Another method is direct introduction, gene gun method. So what is the other method? The other method is direct introduction. Direct introduction. What is that technique called? Gene gun method. What is the technique called? It's called as gene gun method. We studied this in previous chapter, okay? Gene gun method is also called biolistic method. So inside the gun, we will keep the foreign DNA and we will trigger it. Then it will deliver it onto the plant cell, okay? So gene gun, if you want to see, it will be like this. And we will trigger it. This is gene gun, and inside that, like a bullet, your foreign DNA is there. This is gene gun, your foreign DNA is there. When you trigger it, it will be sent inside. When you trigger it, it will be sent inside. So these are the two techniques of sending the foreign DNA into the plant cell and converting the normal plant into a transgenic plant. Understood, Amma? So what are we talking about? We are talking about transgenic plants. So what are transgenic plants? The plants which are having foreign genes are called transgenic plants. What is the method called? It's called transformation. How do you send foreign genes into a plant cell? By two methods, with the help of vector or through direct method. With the help of vector, what is the choice of vector? TI plasmid. From where do you take it? Agrobacterium tumefaciens. In this way, it will transfer. What is the second technique? Direct introduction method. How do you directly send it into the plant cell? Gene gun. This is the gene. This is the gene. This is the gun. It will trigger. It will go inside. Take a shot. We'll continue. Yeah. So now we understood how to send foreign genes into plant cell. Now we will see under transgenic plants, we will see insect resistant transgenic plant. We'll talk about insect resistant transgenic plant, and we are going to take the reference of BT cotton. BT cotton. Don't think BT is biotechnology. So BT is a short form of a soil bacteria name which is called as Bacillus thuringiensis. So BT is the short form of a soil bacteria. What is the name of the soil bacteria? Bacillus thuringiensis. Bacillus is the genus. Thuringiensis is the species. There is a soil bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis. This bacteria is such a type of bacteria that it produces insecticidal proteins. It produces proteins which can kill insects. Bacteria is killing the insect. A soil bacteria, BT, what it will do? It produces insecticidal proteins. It produces insecticidal proteins which can kill. It can kill some insects, not all insects. It can kill some insects which belong to three orders. Some insects belonging to what are the orders of the insects? Let us see. So, one order is called Lepidoptera. What is the first order called? The first order is called Lepidoptera. The second order of insect is called Coleoptera. The third order of insect is called Diptera. When you remember the first chapter, the living world houseflies order, we studied it as Diptera. Okay. So, not all strains of Bacillus thuringiensis produce BT toxinama. Some strains of Bacillus thuringiensis, make a note of that also. Some strains, not all strains, some strains of Bacillus thuringiensis will produce a insecticidal protein which can kill certain orders of insects. Three orders NCERT says. One order is Lepidoptera, second order is Coleoptera, third order is Diptera. Now under Lepidoptera, butterfly also will come under Lepidoptera only, but butterfly is not damaging the crop. So which insect we can tell here means tobacco, budworm and armyworm. So this BT toxin can kill these two groups of insects which come under this order. Now under Coleoptera, beetles will come. Now again, this BT toxin can kill beetles which come under the order called Coleopterans. Under Diptera, which insects will damage the plant? Flies and mosquitoes. Flies and mosquitoes. So that means the BT toxin can kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of plants. 5 groups of insects it can kill belonging to 3 orders: Lepidoptera, Coleoptera, Diptera. Under Lepidoptera, which insects are coming which will damage the plant? Tobacco budworm, armyworm. Under Coleoptera, which insect will come? Beetle will come. Under Diptera, which insects will come? Flies and mosquitoes will come. Now this bacteria produces protein. The bacteria produces a crystalline protein. It produces a crystalline protein in some stage of its growth. NCERT has given this sentence: in some stages of its growth. Now NCERT says that the bacteria will produce the crystalline protein, insecticidal protein, in some stages of its growth. Now in which stage it produces the protein means in the sporulation stage. The answer, if they ask you which stage, the answer is sporulation stage. In the sporulation stage, the bacteria will produce this insecticidal protein, and this insecticidal protein is produced inside the cell. Means this crystalline protein is an endotoxin and it is an intracellular crystalline protein. So all these sentences, they can ask us, right? They might ask you, like, in which stage of its life cycle the bacteria will produce that protein. In the sporulation stage, when it's going to convert into a spore, then it produces the protein. And which type of protein is it? Is it released into the cell or outside the cell? I'm telling it is an endotoxin, means it's produced inside the cell, and it releases intracellular. The protein is inside the cell, so it is intracellular crystalline protein, okay, and it is endotoxin. Now this protein, why it is not killing the bacteria? It is there in the bacteria, no? Why it is not killing the bacteria? And it will not infect us also. It will not infect humans also. It will not infect us also, bacteria also. Why? Means in our body and in the bacterial body, the toxin is inactive. Means it is in the inactive form, protoxin form. So in bacteria and humans, the toxin is inactive. Inactive form of toxin is called protoxin. It is in the form of protoxin. Why is it inactive? Why is it not able to get converted to an active form? Means favorable pH is not there in our body and in the bacterial body to change the protoxin to active toxin. So that is why it is inactive. So it cannot show any change in our body. Understood? So then when this is a concept. Now take a screenshot, we'll discuss. Right? Understood? Now I'll draw the plant. Now if you want to prepare a BT cotton plant, this is bacteria. Bacteria, okay, which bacteria? Agrobacterium tumefaciens. From here we are borrowing the vector. What is that vector? Ti plasmid. We borrowed the vector, yeah, we took the vector, we opened the vector. And now another bacteria is there. What is this bacteria? BT bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. In BT bacteria, there is a gene which codes for that crystalline protein, BT toxin. So here is the gene. This is the gene. Now what is this, children? It is the gene. So gene is symbolized by crygene. What do we call the gene as? Crygene. Okay. Now crygene. See, in gene, the first letter, sorry, G, we will write it as CRY. All three small letters. For gene, we use all three small letters and we use italic font. We use italic font. Okay. Now the gene is called crygene. Now you took that crygene out. This is the crygene and we will introduce the crygene into the vector. So when you introduced into the vector, now the vector will take the crygene and it will become like this. Now this is called recombinant vector. The recombinant vector is given back to the bacteria, Agrobacterium. Now your crygene is there which can produce BT toxin. You took it, you gave it to the Ti plasmid and Ti plasmid is pushed back into the Agrobacterium. Now this Agrobacterium, blue colored one is Agrobacterium. Agrobacterium will go and infect the cotton plant. It is a root bacterium. Right? So this is the lint. So this is a cotton lint and this is a cotton bud. Now this agrobacterium will go and infect the cotton plant. It will go and infect the cotton plant. So we can ask the bacteria to go and infect the cotton plant, or this agrobacterium spores will be there. That spores also you can mix it in water and you can spray it. Then also the plant will easily take it. So when it goes into the plant, when the bacteria goes into the plant, it delivers this vector inside. That means this bacteria is now having crygene. The plant is having crygene. This crygene will undergo transcription, will undergo translation, protein synthesis, and it makes a protein called cryprotein. So where is that cryprotein? So these are cryproteins which are there in the plant. These are cryproteins. They are crystalline proteins, right? So they are crystalline solid protoxins. Okay, they are there in the plant. It's a transgenic plant. They're there in the plant. Now, after few days, if the caterpillar comes, what is the story? Now, the caterpillar, so the caterpillar came to infect the plant. So caterpillar, what is it? The caterpillar is the larva stage of the insect, right? So this caterpillar is the larva stage of the pest. Larva, pupa, adult. So the larval stage of the pest will come to infect the plant. Either it will eat the grass, it will eat the leaf, or it will eat the bud. So when it comes and when it takes it, now what happens? This along with the leaf sap, it will take the cryprotein also. So the caterpillar along with the cryprotein, along with the leaf sap, what it is taking? It is eating leaf. Along with the leaf, it takes the capital letter we have to use for protein. It takes the cryprotein. Now, if we see the caterpillar, now this is the alimentary canal of caterpillar, right? This is the alimentary canal of caterpillar. Now, this portion is foregut. This portion is midgut. And this portion is hindgut. The alimentary canal of caterpillar is divided into foregut, midgut and hindgut. So when it has taken the cryprotein, the cryprotein is going inside. Now in the midgut, so alkaline pH is there. The midgut of the insect shows alkaline pH. Now in this alkaline pH, the crystalline protoxin becomes soluble active toxin. It becomes a soluble active toxin. It became beta toxin, active toxin. That active toxin, what is this active toxin doing? Active toxin comes and binds to the epithelial cells of the midgut. The active toxin binds. It binds to the midgut epithelial cells. Now, since the toxin became active, it will go and bind to the midgut epithelial cells. After going and binding to the epithelial cells, since it is toxin, it makes pores, perforations on the intestine. So, as a result of this, what happens? Intestinal perforations, intestinal holes. Intestine has big holes. Intestine perforations. Because of these perforations, it will swell. So water comes in, water moves in. When water moves in, what happens? Intestine swells, then it lyses. Insect is killed. Insect is killed, insect died. Insect died, okay, the plant is safe, the bud is safe, the cotton is safe. Understood? This is a technology. Let me try to explain you once again. Now, how to produce a BT cotton plant. Now, with the vector mediated technology, we are explaining. Take a bacteria. The name of the bacteria is Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Agrobacterium tumefaciens has Ti plasmid. Take the plasmid out. I took the plasmid out. I opened the plasmid also. Now from BT, from Bacillus thuringiensis, we know that BT bacteria has a toxin that can kill the insect. From this BT bacteria, we borrowed that gene. The name of the gene is called crygene. Small c, small r, small y, crygene. Small letters we will use and italic font we will use. That crygene, what is this, children? This is crygene. The crygene is combined with the Ti plasmid. You will get a recombinant vector. The recombinant vector is sent to the bacteria, and that bacteria is infecting now the plant. The agrobacterium, which is having the recombinant vector, will come and infect the cotton plant. Now, when the bacterium infects the cotton plant, the bacteria will deliver the crygene into the plant. Now, that crygene undergoes transcription, translation. It will form cryprotein. For protein, we are going to use capital letter. The first letter is capital, and the second and third letter are vital. They are Roman letters. Here I told they are italics, and here I am telling RY are Roman letters. So we use it in the Roman font. And the cryprotein which is produced, it is a crystalline protein. It is a solid protein. It is in inactive form, protoxin. In the plant, it is inactive. In the bacteria, also it is inactive. So these dots are the cryproteins. Now, when the insect comes, the larval stage of the pest, caterpillar, comes to damage the crop, what will happen? It is nicely feeding on the leaf. The leaf has cryprotein. It will take the cryprotein. Then what happens? Now, when it takes the cryprotein, that protein goes inside. In the mid-gut of the insect, alkaline pH is there. That alkaline pH converts the crystalline protoxin to, it is crystalline, it became soluble. It is inactive, it became active toxin. That active toxin binds to the intestinal cells of the midgut. It binds to the epithelial cells of the midgut, and causes perforations, holes on the intestine. Since pores are made, water comes in. The intestine will swell up, bacteria, insect dies. When the insect dies, plant is safe. Plant is safe. Understood? Take a screenshot. We'll continue. Right? Hope you understood till here. Now, for specific insect, specific crygene is there, it seems. Now, for which insect, what crygene also we will see. Many times from this genes, they asked questions in the NEET examinations. Right. Soma, if it is gene, use small letters, and all three are small letters. C, R, Y are small letters, and use italic font. And mainly we use three crygenes. One or cry2 AB we use, or cry1 AC we use. Mainly three crygenes we use. Cry1 AB is used if you want to protect BT corn plant. Instead of BT cotton, if you want to make BT corn, then we need to use cry1 AB. And corn, this corn plant is infected by the pest. What is the name of the pest? This cry1 AB is resistant to corn borer. It is resistant to corn borer. Whereas cry2 AB and cry1 AC, we use it if you want to produce BT cotton plant. If you want to produce BT cotton plant. Now, these genes are effective against a pest called as cotton bollworm. They will ask you this point in the NEET examination. If you want to control cotton bollworm, what are the cry genes we have to use? Cry2AB, Cry1AC. If you want to control corn borer, what are the genes we are supposed to use? Cry1AB. Remember it, okay? This BT cotton was introduced into India in 2002. From then onwards, since this is successful, so many plants came. BT rice came, BT brinjal, BT soybean. So many plants have been produced in the same method, in the same technology. Now, Indian government has given permission to the farmers that you can use BT cotton since it is beneficial. You need not buy pesticides to kill the pests, insecticides to kill the insects. You are not damaging the environment also. You are not wasting your money also. The government has given permission to the farmers because it has been proved a successful crop. Now, in Punjab, there is an area called Malwa. Now, in this Malwa belt of Punjab, the soil is very dry. So, very less water. Now, in such areas, no plant is growing. Now, since it is a BT plant, we told that genetically modified plants are tolerant to abiotic stress like drought. Do you remember the first point? Now, it is genetically modified plant, right? It can survive in less water conditions also, right? It proved it here. In Malwa belt of Punjab, this BT cotton has given an extraordinary results. Earlier, they were thinking that this Malwa place of Punjab will convert into a desert because no plant is growing there. No plant is growing there, such dried condition it is. But since it's a BT plant, it's tolerant to drought. Then it started growing there and it has given a very good yield. So see how many enormous benefits we are getting by biotechnology. Understood, children? All this is the information related to BT cotton, which comes under insect resistant plant. Now in the next session, we'll talk about pest resistant plant. Thank you.